Hello everybody and welcome back to the British Pokemon League. We are here for week number 2 of the Premier Division action. I hope you all really enjoyed week 1. It's so great to be back once again, bringing you the show. And what a crazy season we have ahead. Just to let you know, before we get things going in today's show, you will have the British Pokemon League Championship show coming tomorrow from Draco. We had a little bit of an issue with 2 of the videos not sending through, so unfortunately I had to do it Tuesday. But you have that to look forward to tomorrow. But before we get into that, you can enjoy today's show and all the action of the Premier Division Week 2 action. Let's take a look at the league table from Week 1. And doesn't that look familiar? We said this at the end of last week's show. Bulu Boys and Miami Heat at the top of the perch, just like the old times in Season 1. Closely followed behind by Long Island Goomies and the Inglorious Saurs. Of course, Aaron, our Season 2 and Season 3 champion, starting off strong as you would expect, including Season 2 and Season 3's runner-up, South Croydon Saurs, also with the 2-0 win in Week 1 over Meme Space City PC. And following up in 6th there, it is Matrix's Welsh Warriors and his Steel Monotype team also starting out the gates very strongly. And then we have the Newcastle Thunderers, Tendon Melmetals, Crymych, Coalossals, Shadow Kings, Swindon Rookies, and Space City PC following up the bottom 6, of course, all losing out their Week 1 matches. But as we always say, at this point of the season, there is plenty of Pokemon left to play. It is way too early to decide anything, way too early to call anything. We, of course, have our mid-season break and mid-season free agency period coming up after Week 5, where absolutely everything can change. You know, we saw last season, you know, just how wrong things can go in the second half of the season if, you know, some teams improve from their, from their transfers and some teams get worse. You know, it can be just the way the cookie crumbles. So definitely a lot to look forward to in the coming weeks. So let's take a look at the Week 2 schedule then. So kicking things off this week, we have the South Croydon Saurs taking on the Crymych Coalossals. Of course, Dr. Did losing out to the Bulu Boys last week, so has a bit of a point to prove to try and bounce things back, but has got one hell of a match ahead of him, taking on, as we mentioned earlier, Season 2 and 3's runner-up South Croydon Saurs. Doesn't have the best of records when it comes to Week 2 matchups. Has lost both seasons in Week 2, so we'll see if Crizzle is able to change that. Up next, it is the Space City PC taking on Miami Heat. These two not faced down with each other before, of course. Last season, unfortunately, Lat had briefly left the league before he was able to take on Meme. So be interesting to see how this one goes down, you know, the first time these two taking on each other. Then, the third match of this week, it is the Bulu Boys taking on the Inglorious Surfers. Quite a storied history between Aaron and myself. Last time out in Season 3, did get the better of Aaron, handing him his only loss throughout the entire season. So we'll see if the Bulu Boys record can withstand the might of the Inglorious Surfers this season. Then next up we have the Newcastle Thunderers taking on the Tendon Melmetals. Dave narrowly losing out to Matrix's Welsh Warriors last week, and of course the Tendon Melmetals being handed a 2-2 loss in their debut match by the Miami Heat. So both looking to bounce back and try and get a foothold and get on that board with a win. Then we have the Dogsy Shadow Kings and Long Island Goomies. Obviously these two have played each other many times over the course of the British Pokemon League, so expect fireworks in that one. It's really difficult to call these two when they play, so it should be an exciting one. And finally, rounding out this week's fixtures, it is the Swindon Rookies taking on the Welsh Warriors. As we said, their Matrix getting the 2-1 win over the Newcastle Thunderers to start his British Pokemon League journey off with a win. And Draco, unfortunately, losing out to the Long Island Goomies last week. So Draco with a point to prove. Can he take down the might of the Steel Monotype team? We will certainly see. But into our first game of the week, it is the South Croydon Saurs taking on the Crymych Coalossals then. So last time out, the Coalossals went out with an all-hail team with the Kangaskhan and the Vish alongside the Frostmoth, Sandslash, Vanillux, and of course the Togepi. And we're unfortunately taken out mostly by Blastoise and its might in Week 1. But you know, I think Dr. Dave has quite a few options here. You know, Chris did mention before this match that, you know, just how much his sort of main leads do not enjoy facing down that Ice Chewer. So I think Dave has quite a bit of an advantage to play here, and if he plays it smart, if he can make use of Vanilla's Snow Warning, you know, those blizzards that sort of spread moves are going to be really, really huge here. Just got to keep an eye out for, of course, the likes of Hitmonlee and Flareon as well. Going to be able to do big, big damage into those ice types, and of course Excadrill if it comes. I think Comfey is going to be pretty pivotal in this game for Chris if he wants to get anything out of it. If you can go for something like a Trick Room just to offset, the likes of Arctosaur getting the Slush Rush, or alternatively, the Excadrill getting the Sand Rush, or Vish getting the Sand Rush. There's a lot of options to consider, and Chris has got to be careful with that one. Of course, Moltres Galar is reliably bulky, but one thing that Dr. Dave's got to be careful of is if he is going to try and take out that said Moltres Galar, that he doesn't activate a policy or activate, the Berserk ability. As this thing gets rolling, it can be phenomenally difficult to stop. So definitely got to keep an eye out for that. I think Aegislash here could also be really, really important in Crizzle's quest to win this matchup. Has type advantage over quite a lot over on Dr. Dave's team. So could be interesting to see what what Chris lines up with here to try and take out the either of the two weather types that Dr. Dave has in his arsenal. So let's see where this one goes. Without further ado, let's get into this one. It is the South Croydon Saurs taking on the Crymych Coalossals there. And as you can see, Dr. Dave with the Togepi once again with Vish, Vanilluxe, Kangaskhan, Arctosaur, and the Butterfree in the back. And Chris leading the line with the Cresselia and the Aegislash with Hitmonlee, Flareon, Glalie, and the Comfey in the back there. So, we had quite a lot of expectation of the Comfey coming to this one. And I think it's a given the Cresselia is going to come just to sort of get set up, get the screens going. If you can get a few Calm Minds off as well, going to be really, really important. But got to be careful of the physical might of the likes of the Arctosaur and the Dracovish as well. Bultbeak and Vicious Rend, if they're able to get the speed, are going to go. Are going to go first and get big damage off him. It's actually a power herb Arctosaur. It gets the Meteor Beam off, it gets a special attack boost, so it is a special attacking Arctosaur. And Togepi coming to the rescue again with the Follow Me's, but not mattering too much as Chris aims to play that one pretty safely, gets up the Reflect and goes for the King Shield on the Aegislash there. Just didn't want a chance that Arctosaur hitting the hitting it with for big damage as Follow Me comes out there. Meteor Beam goes off again. Of course, Arctosaur's going to have to wait a time for that to go off. Sunny Day comes out from the Aegislash, and there is the Iron Head into the Togepi, and Togepi tanks it again. This little baby egg is phenomenally tanky. We found this out last week against the Bulu Boys, just how many hits this thing can sort of, just keep taking over and over with that Eviolite item. It is super important. Those Follow Me's just doing a great job of keeping Arctosaur alive, and with no spread on Crizzle's side, it's going to be difficult for him to take care of Arctosaur before it gets going. He's got to get rid of the egg first, as there's the Aegislash goes for the King Shield again, and Follow Me comes out from the Togepi. There's the Meteor Beam. Cresselia managing to hang on that from that, and with the Sunbeam up gets the extra HP back from Moonlight. So Chris playing pretty passively so far, just slowly trying to deal with the support one next to Arctosaur before he's able to take it out. Doesn't want to take too long on that. The Arctosaur is getting stronger and stronger, and doesn't have the best special attack, but that's still big damage into the Cresselia. Besides that, with that 2x special attack boost, so pretty safe start from both players as we move on into turn number 4 then. King Shield fails this time, and Protect comes out from the Togepi. I wonder if that was a mistake there from Chris. Discharge comes out, that's good damage. It gets the paralysis off on the Aegislash, and Chris going for the killing blow into the egg, and Togepi goes with a Protect. So Togepi lives to fight another day in turn number 5. I think this may be the longest we've had a game thus far this season go without any kills. He does decide to switch into the Snow Warning Vanilluxe there. There's the Blizzard from the Arctosaur. Gets some big damage away. Moonblast not going to do too much, but is going to get the special attack drop on the Arctosaur. And Sacred Sword though is going to get rid of said Arctosaur, but the hair is up now and is going to be doing that chip damage away to the to the Cresselia and the Aegislash. And now in comes the Dracovish then. So ran it last week with no sand up, so it does appear to be a strong jaw, either Choice Band or Choice Scarf set on the Dracovish. There's the Aegislash going for that King Shield again. Knows the might of the Vish, but he chooses right and goes into Cresselia. Blizzard gets blocked by that Aegislash, and it is now 3 apiece. And Dr. Dave looking pretty strong. Does proc the Papa Berry on the Aegislash. That's good information for Dr. Dave. There's now in comes the Comfey. You would expect a Floral Healing to come out just to try and give that Aegislash a good fighting chance of staying around. But gotta be careful where that Dracovish is concerned. One Vicious Rend, I think he could do quite a bit of damage where Aegislash is concerned. So has already burned for a King Shield. If he doesn't have a switch in sort of available, there is the Floral Healing as we expected. The Vicious Rend comes out and it all cause the Aegislap. Doesn't stand a chance, and Blizzard gets some really big damage away to the Comfort and Hail, doing it to work with the chip damage. No freezes, thankfully, on Krizz's side. Got very fortunate. There's Flareon is the final one on Krizz's side. Flareon just come out with the Protect, expecting that Vicious Rend from the Vicious. Good reason there from Crizz. There is the Blizzard into the Comfort Hail. It's going to take it on next time, but it does get the Trick Room up, all importantly, and down it goes. In it is Flareon versus the world. Then what's he got in a locker to try and take care of the Vish? You'd expect Protect come out from the Vanillix, and there it is. Zap Cannon comes out, doesn't quite do enough to Vish, but does get the Paralysis. Paralysis doesn't proc though. Vicious Rend comes out, and that is game number 1 to Dr. Dave, starting out strong. But what a passive game that game 1 was. You know, nothing really happening until those last couple of turns when you know, once Dr. Dave had got that chip damage away, Vish just able to come sweep in the sloppy seconds. This time around, Dr. Dave starting out the Butterfree, and Vish this time starting a little bit more offensively. Meanwhile, Chris starting with the fake out of the Hitmonlee, and there is the Cresselia, but the Hitmonlee is put to sleep. Moonblast not going to quite do enough to Vish, not quite enough sort of special attack investment on that Cresselia, and Vish lives to fight another day. And that, obviously, that special attack drop is going to be so big and huge for the Vish. Nah, I kid you, know, it's always good to know. But the double sleep comes out from the Butterfree. Both Cresselia and Hitmonlee going to take it. That Vicious Rend going to take it down to its sash. No one-time wake-ups this time around for Chris, and he's just sort of helpless to do anything here. He's got to sort of just wait it out and hope that Cresselia can weather the storm. Those Vicious Rends are going to do some big damage. In comes the Kangaskhan then, and it's a double switch out for Dr. Dave. In comes the Hitmonlee, wakes up and gets the Axolotl down in 1cc. Not too sure on the switch in there from Dr. Dave. I think the Vish could have, you know, at least comfortably done some big damage away too. You know, even took out the Hitmonlee. The Vish is going to switch back in though. Hitmonlee just hanging on that 1% HP. You'd expect a fake out coming its way from the Kangaskhan there, so maybe this is where Kriz chooses to switch out the Hitmonlee, just to try and preserve it and allow him to come back in and get the fake out there. And he does, as in comes the Comfort, then reads the fake out coming. Vicious Rend gets some big damage to Cresselia. He's going to proc that key barrier, which gives it the defense, but it might be too little too late. It's going to get the reflect up all the same though, which is going to be good news for the Comfort. At least the Comfort now can go for the floral healing and get some of that HP back on Cresselia's side. And with that defense buff, it's going to be able to maybe comfortably live those attacks from Vish and Kangaskhan a bit more comfortably. His Butterfree is going to switch back in. Kanga goes for its Mega. There is the floral healing. Body Slam though, it's going to hit twice, and it's going to get the Paralysis on the second time round. Moonblast not going to quite do enough to the Butterfree, and that could be huge in terms of the Cresselia hanging around. Oh boy, that Paralysis is big. So Dave just getting the full run of the status effects in this matchup. But that Reflect, I think, is all important for Krizz's side to try and bring them back into this. Got to be kept with that parental bond ability that Kangaskhan gets. You know, stuff like that can happen. Of course, you know, your sash isn't safe in that regard. Floral Healing though is going to allow Cresselia back into full HP, but the Comfort is put back to sleep. There is a Body Slam again. Moonblast into the Kangaskhan, just not enough damage output on that Cresselia for it to really be a threat here. But all the same, Dr. Dave is a one down. Kriz is in a suitably good position here. Not really much can touch the Comforts. Now in comes the Vish again. There's the Body Slam from the Kangaskhan, a little bit more damage away at the Comfort, and the Cresselia gets paralyzed as the Comfort, of course, stays asleep. Just not getting the run of the green on this one is Kriz, and it's so frustrating when you can't do anything. Dr. Dave just allow it, just sort of pivot and just keep his mons where he wants. There's the Vicious Rend. Comfort just about hangs on, but it's another Paralysis from the Cresselia, as now the Reflect going to wear off. And this is not a good position for Kriz to be in. He's got a Hitmonlee and the Comfort both on 1% HP now. You've got to wonder what he's got in the back as that fourth one to be able to deal with the sort of output that the Vish has got. Giga Drain is going to allow the Comfort a little bit more damage back. There's the Pollen Puff from the Butterfree. Vicious Rend going to take out that Comfort, and Dr. Dave gets on the bottom. Moonblast though in return is going to get the revenge kill on the Vish, and it's now a 3v2. Krizzle not out of this one yet. You know, Flareon going to match up pretty well into that Butterfree. Got to watch out for that incoming fake out though on the side of Kangaskhan. This one is definitely not over in number 10. What a match we have to start off this week again. You know, just absolutely just guns ablaze, and reads the fake out well though. Kangaskhan goes into that Flareon. There's the Pollen Puff. get some more super effective damage away into that Cresselia. It's going to just Moonlight up, get that HP it's lost back straight away. The smart stuff there from Chris, just allowing him to play this one pretty passively. Reposition, sort of configure it in your head what you want to do. Pollen Puff comes out again. Some good special attacking damage there. There's the body slam. That gets some big damage away to Flareon. Flareon managing to hang on. There's the Heat Wave. It's going to take out the Butterfree. Not too sure whether the crit mattered, but all the same. Kangaskhan now with it all up to do in this game number 2. And this one looks pretty solid for Chris. There's the Protect. Reads the body slam. Is the Moonblast going to be able to do enough? It's not, but it does drop the special attack on the Kangaskhan at the very least. And Chris is going to be able to just chip away at this Kangaskhan and going to be able to take this one. Kangaskhan does take out Flareon for good measure. There is another Moonblast. Kangaskhan just slowly but surely just its health slithering away. Hitmonlee now, of course, going to be able to bring in a Fake Out unless Dr. Dave protects this turn. You know, is it going to be faster? There is the said Protect. Reads the Fake Out. It's going to keep it around a little bit longer. If it had a Rock Slide or something, there would potentially be a chance that Kangaskhan could take this, but I don't think it's going to be able to do it. There is the body slam in Hitmonlee, takes it out. Kangaskhan gets 2 kills on the board, but the Moonblast is going to finish it off, and Cresselia ties it up at 1 apiece, and we go into another game 3. Unfortunately, we loaded this one a few times in. We didn't get to join this game until a little bit late, but not too much has happened. As you can see, a pretty passive game once again. Artazol and the Togepi have led the line, as well as Aegislash and Hitmonlee for Chris. Artazol, of course, getting a Meteor Beam off in those early turns. So we're in turn number 3. Surprisingly, again, Togepi manages to be hanging around at this stage. You know, you really wouldn't expect one of the baby months to be so comfortably living with Cresselia. Switches in. Follow Me comes out from the Togepi. Reads the Blaze Kick. The Blizzard is going to miss the Hitmonlee, but doesn't miss the Cresselia, more importantly. No freezes this time though. With Chris's RNG look at this game though, you would half expect one of those Blizzards to land a freeze, so you've got to be careful of that one. And because Follow Me again, there's the Sunny Day. It's going to go down to the Blizzard though. No Moonlight though. Moonblast comes out from the crest, and the Togepi just carries on, just living. There's 4v3 now. Dr. Dave with the early advantage. We already saw Aegislash with 1 Sacred Sword do very big damage to that Arctozolt. We're just going to switch it out. Comfey switches back in. There's the Follow Me coming out from the Togepi. Blizzard hits again. Not quite enough at Moonlight. Going to allow Cresselia to get some of the HP back, and again Chris just taking his time with this, with the switch-ins and the Moonlighting up with the Cresselia. Just allow it to keep on living. And Dr. Dave's just able to just spam the Blizzards. There's the Giga Drain from the Comfey. Not really going to get all that much done. There is the Blizzard again. Comfey just about hangs on, but Comfey gets frozen this time. There's the Moonblast into the Vanillix. And that Snowball improvement to be so pivotal. And the Hail is going to take out the Comfey all the same, but it's now a 2v4. And Dr. Dave really starting this one out strong. And you've got to remember that Dracovish is going to be lulling around in the back, ready to take on and you know, just attack its prey. Blizzard comes out again. The Cresselia just about kicking around. Is it going to go for the Moonlight again? It's not, because Blizzard on the Vanillix is going to take it out, and it now is all up to Aegislash. Sacred Sword is going to get rid of Arctozolt and take it to a 1v3, but I'm not too sure that Aegislash is going to have it in the locker to win this one now. And now in comes the Togepi. You know, expect the Follow Me coming its way, but the Aegislash goes for said King's Shield. Follow Me comes out. There is the Blizzard from the Vanillix. Just, you know, at this late stage, I think a freeze is going to be game, set, and match. So this one has been a real tough one for Crizzle. The the week 2 curse carries on. There is the Blizzard once again. Not quite enough. There's Ironhead is going to get rid of the Togepi. Now a 1v2, but you would expect that Vish is the final one. And there it is, Dracovish. Already done so much work in this matchup. It has been an absolute star for Dr. Dave in this one, and just Chris with no real answer to it in the sort of late games. He's going to protect for good measure at the very least. He's going to at least drop his attacks. That might be a way back into this one potentially. But if Vish is going to go first, it's going to still do such big damage with those Vicious Friends, even with a Reflect up. I'm not too sure whether Aegislash can sort of, you know, live through it. There is the Vicious Render. And Dr. Dave's going to take this one 2-1 and gets his first win of the British Pokemon League. Really great stuff there from Dr. Dave. It was just really cool to see just sort of the patient play from both coaches. And as I said during the match, Dr. Dave just chipping everything away with those blizzards and Arctozolt, and then just brings Dracovish to just clean up. Just Dracovish brings its mop, brings its bucket, mops away the competition. But GG's to both players. Yeah, really great to see Dr. Dave get one on the board now, and hopefully he can kick on from there. And I'm sure Chris will not allow that one to deter him further, and we'll be back with a bang in week number 3. On to our second match of this week then. It is the Miami Heat taking on the Space City PC, as we mentioned earlier, because these two yet to play each other in British Pokemon League action, but of course have been a part of past seasons. And rolling out the gate really strongly against Kirky and his Tendel Melmetals in week number 1. So looking like the Latvian of old that we saw in season 1, we saw in season 2, and this team is a real monster. Lat knows how to get the very best out of that Lipard with his prankster ability, and I would expect here it is going to be an absolute menace if he's able to use it correctly. Meme is going to have to be careful he doesn't let the Lipard wreck house too much, bringing something like the Thievul just to sort of deter Latvian from going for those prankster attacks. Maybe the best course of action here, and maybe ought to drop the special attacks on the likes of that Primarina and the Gengar. Of course, the Gengar are going to be able to Mega one of the Mega Evolutions on Latvian's team. I would think it's a strong bet that the Articuno Galar comes in. It just gives Latvian such good options with both elements of Speed Control, of course, get Trick Room and Tailwind. And those Freezing Glares can be a real menace as well. We saw the likes of the Typhlosion last week as well, coming along. Maybe an option here. If Meme is going to go with the Mega Charizard, why to get the Sunny Day up? Get the Drought ability up. Typhlosions, Eruptions are going to be pretty scary, but I'm sure that Meme has took that into consideration, how much of a problem it might be for a lot of his team, and it will maybe be deterring away from that. Of course, the Charizard here can Mega to either an X or Y Mega Evolution, so gives him those options. And can maybe take Latvian by surprise by bringing the other one. I think Finny here, you're going to expect it to try and get those Calm Minds up, try and set up on Latvian. If it does, that's maybe where things could get scary for Latvian. And of course, keep an eye out for that Mienshao and Raichu with both their Fake Outs, and Raichu with its Follow Me, in this gen does get Follow Me, which, so people seem to be surprised to know, but, it's quite a useful Follow Me mon all the same. We saw Vileplume as well putting in the work last week. Whether it comes to this game or not will remain to be seen. Maybe it doesn't match up overly well in the likes of that Articuno and said Typhlosion. But all the same, could be an option. Meme might have something up his sleeve, Meme's quite a creative player, and I expect this one to be a pretty close tie. So, without further ado, let's get into this one. It is the Miami Heat taking on the Space City PC. As you can see there, the Meme has got the Charizard, Tapu Fini, Mienshao, Raichu, Vileplume, and the Thievul has come indeed. Meanwhile, Latvian has got the Articuno Galar, the Lipard Seeking, Primarina, Gengar, and the Typhlosion. So nothing too out of the ordinary for both players here. I think both players have picked their sort of strongest 6 here. That Seeking, you would expect this come to sort of deal with potentially what that Raichu wants to do. The Primarina is really strong here against the likes of the Charizard. So, but Mienshao and Charizard kicking off things for Meme. Meanwhile, Lipard sits next to Articuno. You expect Articuno to maybe want to try and go down the Trick Room route here. The Protect comes out from the Charizard. No Mega's just set. Protect comes out from the Articuno. So I think Fake Out not from this side as Meme goes for the Coaching then. So Meme seeing that Latvian was probably going to protect the Articuno all every time, goes for the Coaching instead of the Fake Out. So smart stuff there, and protects the Charizard from being Fake Outed early on by that Lipard. But gotta be careful, that Lipard does like to run the stat drops of like Screech and Fake Tears, and of course does have access to Encore as well. So Meme does need to be careful on that line, that he doesn't get locked into something. And he will of course be well aware that Articuno is going to want to set up some form of speed control, but it's whether it's which way Latvian wants to go. Does he want to get the speed going? allow him to outspeed the Meme's team here, or is he going to want to underspeed and try and work under Trick Room? And, you know, we know Latvian likes to use those room service items. As Tapu Fini is going to switch in, gets the Misty Surge up. Charizard goes for its Mega, and the Encore does fail this one. There's the Dragon Dance onto the Charizard, so Latvian unfortunately encoring up the Charizard too early. With Articuno though is going to take advantage of that switch in and does get Trick Room up. And now in comes the Primarina with the room service, and there's the Encore from the Lipad. So that Charizard is locked into the Dragon Dance, which could be good in a sense, but unfortunately it is just stuck there until Meme is able to take care of that Lipad. The Lipad now can potentially just Encore the Tapu Fini now into those Calm Minds. Gotta be careful with those setup moves here against that Lipad. Against Slap, you can take full advantage and just set up around those Encores, and you know, Meme gonna be just completely unable to do anything, because now the Raichu is going to switch in. Protect comes out from the Tapu Fini, gonna at least block that Encore. There's the Moonblast into the Raichu, get some big damage away. You know, Primarina with that really high base special attack, it is not to be trifled with. This thing is an absolute menace. And now in a great position to follow me comes out there as the Encore, so Raichu is now lost in follow me. There's the Hyper Voice though, is going to take out the Raichu. Dazzling Gleam gonna get the Lipad down to its sash at the very least. That Protect really coming into play, but Lipad lives to fight another day. Latvian, you would think, is going to try and avoid the Encore now, just to try and keep the Lipads alive. As now in comes the Mega Charizard again. Boy, does that thing look pretty. I do really like that Mega Charizard. But 1-1 down for me. Latvian with the early advantage. I said that Lipad proven to be the terror that he likes to be. You know, as I said, he gets the absolute very best out of it. He's had it before back in season 1, and we saw how much prowess it had sat next to Galar Slowbro. So, you know, give Latvian the money once, and he's gonna do more damage. The Articuno switches in place of the Lipad. There's a Protect. Energy Ball gets some good damage with it, but that Calm Mind really coming into play, and Primarina and Articuno take the hits of that Dazzling Gleam. But that Calm Mind really saving Tapu Fini's skin there. Trick Room has indeed ended though. Is Meme going to try and get the setup on the Charizard then, or is he just going to go straight for damage? You know, maybe knowing that Lipad has the Encore, wants to try and stray away from those setup moves. You know, it's even risky to Protect while that thing's kicking around. You know, as the Protect comes out from Tapu Fini's, Gengar switches in. There is the Earthquake. Articuno, the Gengar goes straight down to the Earthquake. Big stuff there from the Charizard, and that's one apiece now. Really big turn there. And Articuno does get the Tailwind up, so now Lat has had both types of speeds up in this game, which is interesting to say the least. Not something you see very often. Lipad though is going to switch back in. You know, can he lock the Charizard into even like Earthquake? Because you know, Galar Articuno just is not going to be affected by those EQs, because Lipad would go down, but definitely a few players that Latvian could go here. Could even go, as I said, for Fake Tears. Or there is the Snarl, is going to drop the special attack back down in neutral for the Tapu Fini. That was the smart move. There's the Air Slash. Is it going to get the flinch? Dragon Dance is going to come out from the Charizard, and there is the flinch on the Tapu Fini. So that's a huge sign for Latvian. Gets that flinch. And Charizard going for the Dragon Dance again. That is risky stuff on the side of me. And then Latvian potentially just free to go for the Encore, and there it is. Air Slash on the Tapu Fini. Dragon Dance, of course, coming out on the Charizard again, and the flinch lands again for the Tapu Fini. Just Meme just not able to do anything. It's just been sort of stuck for so many times here with flinches and Encores. It's got to be a super frustrating situation to be in, just not able to do anything at this early stage. There is a Snarl, is going to drop that special attack even further on the Tapu Fini. Dragon Dance again from the Charizard. It's getting stronger, but you know, unfortunately Latvian, you know, he can just sort of ignore it until the Encore ends, and then, you know, deal with it later, or even, you know, if he's got something like a Haze or a Clear Smog running around, it's gonna just sort of set it back to neutral, and then, you know, Meme is back to square one here. So definitely not over till the Fat Lady sings. Protect comes out from the Tapu Fini. There is another Dragon Dance. It's getting faster and it's getting stronger. And those Snarls just slowly chipping away at Charizard's health, as now Latvian goes for the Trick Room. You know, again, it's the Encore ends. That's really smart stuff there from that. Reads that the speed is good. You know, the Encore is going to end, and that Charizard now is going to be going last. And you know, he's potentially just free to just take it out with the likes of an S or something if a Fake Tears can land. There is the encore again. Dazzling Gleam is going to get rid of the Lipad. Articuno not going to be damaged too much. The Air Slash, though, enough to take out the Charizard. And now it is a 2v2. Lipad does finally go down. And it's Mienshao and Finny versus Primarina and Articuno. This is not a good position for that Mienshao to be in. You know, week 2, both Primarina and Articuno here in that Tapu Fini looking very, very delicate in this late stage. Of course, Trick Room is up. All Meme can really do is go for the fake out on that with the Mienshao and try and, you know, get something so that the Tapu Fini can get some damage away. But you know, that Trick Room play was really, really huge for Latvian. Just played around the speeds here, really smart stuff. You know, this is why he's our Season 1 champion. There is the energy ball from the Primarina, and there's no fake out. Air Slash from the Articuno is going to do it, and Latvia takes the lead in this one. Brilliant game 1 stuff there, but oh man, that must have been a real frustrating one for me to play. See if he can bring it back in this game too, as Latvian does lead out with the Typhlosion next to the Lipad, and Meme sticks with the Mienshao as a lead, but brings in the Tapu Fini this time. Protect comes out from the Tapu Fini again. That's a dangerous play. You know, is trying to read the fake out, but Rock Slide from the Mienshao is going to get some big damage with the Typhlosion, so Latvian doesn't go for the Eruption smartly, but the Flamethrower doesn't quite do enough to the Mienshao. Mienshao just hanging on there, but that's a scary position for Finny to be in with that Protectors. Lipad now can just go for the Encore, and it's going to be just trapped. And you know, as we said earlier, Latvia can just sort of comfortably ignore it at that point. It's, you know, it's stuck just doing the same thing. Yeah, it's such a difficult watch as the Mienshao is going to take out the Typhlosion, get some big damage with the Lipad. This now is going to get rid of Mienshao. She does get the revenge kill. It's going to drop the special attack on that Finny, which is going to Calm Mind and get itself back to neutral. But again, it's so frustrating because Meme wants to get the Tapu Fini set up so it can do some damage, but at the same time, you know, you're just running at such a risk while that Lipad's still kicking around. As the Gengar switching, we saw the might of the Mega Gengar last week against Kirky. Can the Mega Gengar come in again and wreck house? You know, now the fake out, you know, potential sucker punches are gone on the side of Mienshao. That Gengar is going to potentially be sitting pretty. Raichu here does have a potential to go for a fake out into Lipad though, which might give the option to the Tapu Fini, but the Tapu Fini gets Encore. There's the Shadow Ball into Raichu. Raichu really takes that, and there's the Electro Web trying to slow down that Gengar and the Lipad, but Calm Mind comes out from the Tapu Fini, of course, with that Encore. And he's really got to get rid of that Lipad as soon as possible, or he's in some real big trouble. Close games though, once again. Both down to 3. Lipad and Raichu just about hanging on next to this, you know, the sweeper ones. That Kuna Glass, which is in, that's a smart stuff there from Latvian, just preserves the Lipad and reads the Electro Web, so gets the competitive boost on the Articuno. And there's the clear Smog from the Gengar. We mentioned that earlier. Gengar just resetting Tapu Fini's stats back to neutral, and as fast as that thing is going to be Calm Minding thanks to the Encore, it is just going to get reset until that Gengar is gone. And oh boy, this is a really difficult position for Meme to be in. Latvian playing this one super smart. You know, Articuno even at this point is set up really well to be able to just sort of start doing damage, as the Thunderbolt from Raichu is going to take care of the Galar Articuno before it can do anything. So good stuff there from Meme to get the revenge kill. But the Gengar going to get rid of the Raichu. Is now a 2v2, the Encore ending. One Calm Mind set up. Now Lipad is going to be able to switch back in. Meme has got to go for it. He's got to go on the attack here, or he's going to be in such big trouble. You know, we saw how much damage that Earthquake did in game 1 from the Charizard. It's got big damage output, so he's got to go on the attack here. Try and take care of Gengar and Lipad with some kind of spread move. Goes to the Mega, and there is the Protect on the Megazord as Encore comes out again. Meme is just stuck. He can't do anything as Gengar is going to hit that Shadow Ball on the Protect, but is Latvian now just be able to Encore the Charizard with Protect, or even allow it to set up a Dragon Dance again and go for the Encore? You know, it's just Latvian's plaything. It goes to the Encore now, the Charizard's stuck in with Protect. It's just, he can't do anything. Latvian is just really controlling this one completely. And, I mean, what do you even say here, Leos? You know, he just can't get anything away. You know, you can see why he was protecting, just to sort of read the fake out. But, oh, it's got to be so frustrating. I know Meanwhile is playing this one was super frustrated. There is the Clear Smog from the Gengar. Of course, it's super effective damage into the Finny as well, so it's even better for that for the side of Latvian as well. What a start Latvian has made to the life in Season 4 of the British Pokemon League. There's Encore out again. Oh dearie me, it's just so frustrating to watch. His Charizard's going to go down to the Shadow Ball from Gengar. Gengar once again just proving its might. And this one looks to be game, set, and match. Then Latvian going to take this one 2-0 and consign Meme to an 0-2 start. And the first time he has lost more than one match in a row. And this is unprecedented stuff for Meme. It's, you know, uncommon ground for him, as Clear Smug's just going to, every time he sets the car mind up, he's just going to pull the car from underneath him. And Lipard and Gengar just going to do that shit damage with the Clear Smugs, the Shadow Balls, and the Snarls. Slowly but surely just working its way down. Really amazing stuff here from Latvian, just really stamping his authority early doors here in the British Pokemon League. Clear Smog from there. Gengar's gonna get the job done. And there you have it, the 2-0 from Latvian 71. GG's to both players. I mean, I said, like, if you're Meme, what can you do there? You know, you're just sort of stuck. There's definitely a few things you could do, but you know, you can see what Meme was trying to go for, but until that Lipard was taken care of, it just couldn't do anything. But you know, I'm sure Meme will bounce back. This guy is a super smart and super clever player. Is the most handsome man in all of Texas as well. You know, you can't ever forget that. And did finish 4th in the British Pokemon League last season. So do not count him out at this early stage. There's still plenty of Pokemon left to play, of course. But congrats to Latvian on that Wii 2 win. He moves to the top of the leaderboard with that one. But let's get into our next game. It is a big one. It is the Bulu Boys taking on Aaron's Inglorious Surface. Of course, me and Aaron have faced off many occasions. I do hold the advantage in our head-to-head 3-1, but that's not, you know, that means nothing here. Aaron is our back-to-back British Pokemon League champion, and he has assembled one hell of a squad once again. Keep an eye out for that Mega Mawile. You know, we've not really seen his attacking might thus far after week 1, but I'm sure once he unleashes it, he'll be able to show the world why this thing is so scary. You know, the Rain sort of setup duo looks really strong here into the Bulu Boys team. That Mega Swampert and Pelipper, you know, Mega Swampert just going to be able to take full advantage of Pelipper's Rain, you know, with setting up the weather and, you know, allowing it to go super fast. You know, Aaron might not even have to go for his trickery mode in this one, but it is of course an option there. You know, we know how strong Bronzong is with those iron defenses. You know, he proved its might last week against these Shadow Kings. For sure, you know, Pikachu as well could also be a good bring. You know, the Raikou is going to look to do some big damage into the Pelipper. Of course, not going to really hurt the Swampert, but, you know, Pikachu with the Lightning Rug is really going to just sort of stop Raikou from being able to do anything in this one. So, definitely a few ways that Aaron can sort of stump the main attacking trio of the Bulu Boys. Of course, Rillaboom as well, matching in really well into that Blastoise, stopping the Bulu Boys from what they want to do. But let's not count the Bulu Boys out here. The Blastoise, we saw it last week. If this thing gets a Shell Smash set up, just how damn strong this thing can be. You know, of course has access to the Water Spout spread moves here, which can take advantage of Pelipper's Rain here potentially. You know, and you know, as well, if the Bulu Boys are able to reset the weather, of course, Mega Banette does get that Prankster ability, which is going to allow it to, you know, change from Sunny Day, Rain Dance, Messra, as well as Jirachi and Entei and Raikou also getting access to the weather. So a couple of different ways you could play to try and reset that weather. I think Persian Alola is going to be really strong here, just to provide that fake out pressure. And we do, of course, know the stat drop news it's getting is a really important support one here. Something like the Maractus as well could be quite an important one. You know, there's not too much weak to water types on the Bulu Boys side, but the Maractus, if it's able to read, you know, an incoming water attack, you know, set up the Storm Drain, stop any damage from hitting the opposing mon, could be important in this one. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna stop my blabbering. Let's get into this one. It is the Bulu Boys versus the Inglorious surface, and on the side of the Bulu Boys it is Jirachi, the Alolan Persian, Maractus, Blastoise, Ordino, and Raikou. And on the side of Aaron, it is the Pelipper, the Swampert, Rillaboom, Drapion, Crobat, and Perugly then. So no Raichu in the back. So Matt's got to be licking his lips at the thought of that one. So no Raichu there to Raichu. No Pikachu in the back to sort of, you know, use its Lightning Rod to great effect. But that Drapion is going to be looking super strong here. As well as the Mega Swampert here, you know, is going to have good type advantage over this Jirachi. But Persian here could put a stop to the Swampert and allow Jirachi to, you know, potentially go for a Trick Room. Just, you know, stop the Mega Swampert from getting that speed advantage, or even, you know, go out on the attack onto the Pelipper. Looks to be quite a sort of. There's this one that goes from Mega Fake Out, goes out from the Alolan Persian. There's the U-turn from the Pelipper, so it looks to be a very fast Pelipper. Maybe even Choice Scarf. Now the Rillaboom is going to switch in, gets the Grassy Seed, and the Grassy Seed procs on the Alolan Persian. But there's the Ancient Power, and the Jirachi gets the boost in the Ancient Power. That is a big start. Gets the attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed boost from that Ancient Power. Of course, Serene Grace boosting that chance from a 10% to a 20%. Now Alolan Persian's perched really strongly here, thanks to that Grassy Seed from Grassy Terrain going up from the Rillaboom. But Rillaboom, of course, can be counted out. It does, of course, get the high horsepower. Gets access to the Grassy Glider, of course, which is going to be doing some big damage. And don't forget, of course, you know, it does get knockoff and Snarl, which Jirachi is not going to enjoy. Of course, Mega Swampert as well. We saw last season the Darkest Lariats can be really big, so Matt, definitely a few things to think about here. The Fake Out on the Alolan Persian, then Liquidation. The Alolan Persian just tanks that hit as the Energy Ball comes out and takes care of the Mega Swampert, and that is 1-1 advantage to the Bulu Boys. Grassy Terrain just slowly allowing that Rillaboom to get some of his HP back, and the leftovers as well. So it looks to be quite a supporting Rillaboom as now Drapion switches into play again with those dark type attacks. Jirachi's got to be careful here, but that Ancient Power boost is really going to help it out. But what has he got in his locker to deal with said Drapion? Persians maybe going to start going along the lines of those stat drops, just to allow Jirachi to sort of go on the attack here. There's the Grassy Glide. The Alolan Persian goes down to a critical hit. Oh, that could be huge. As there's the Ancient Power. It gets the boosts again. The boosts go off for a second turn in a row. There is the Cross Poison, obviously going into that Alolan Persian, but Jirachi, of course, not going to be affected by that Cross Poison. And it is now one down a piece, and Jirachi with the 2 times attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. What has Matt got lined up in the back to be able to deal with this Drapion and Rillaboom then? See me hovering over the Blastoise. And Raikou there, as Raikou switches in. It is Air Balloon Raikou then, so maybe sort of, you know, the item choice there was sort of just to keep an eye on that Mega Swampert's ground moves, and you know how terrifying it could be, as well as Rillaboom as well, those high horsepowers. There's the Engine Power again, no boost this time, but as the extra sentry goes at the Drapion, that could be missing. There's the knockoff, but it's going to activate the weakness policy on the Jirachi. There's the Leech Seed though from the Rillaboom, so how huge could that be? That's going to be slowly chipping away at Jirachi's health, and you know, extra sentry is revealed on that Raikou. I will admit that was a misclick, unfortunately, on my side. Clicked into the Drapion by mistake, which is kind of a frustrating one, but you know, we live and learn. That Leech Seed, you know, the longer that Jirachi sits in there with those Leech Seeds kicking around, the longer that Rillaboom could just keep getting HP back with leftovers, with the terrain, and now with the Leech Seed, going to make it awfully difficult to deal with. The Protect comes out from the Raikou. There's the Shadow Ball. The Rillaboom gets some big damage. There's a Crunch. Gets some big damage away as well. The Jirachi, despite the defense boosts. And that is a very, very, very bulky Rillaboom, as grassy terrain now does at least end, but Aaron's still in a pretty strong position here, you know. It doesn't look like that Bulu Boys have really an answer for that Drapion, and gotta take care of that Rillaboom before it's too late. There is the Ancient Power again, no boost this time. There's a Shadow Ball from the Raikou. Not quite up, it does get the special defense boost, defense drop. And Leech Seed from the Rillaboom, it is just getting so much HP. And now the Jirachi goes down. And it is now a 2v3. It looks to be Blastoise in the back for the Bulu Boys. And there it is. So is it going to be the Mega Blastoise that we saw last week against Dr. Dave? You know, we saw the sort of attacking might this thing's got, but it's, you know, Aaron's got to maybe try and sort of switch out the Rillaboom if he wants that grassy terrain, but otherwise those grassy glides are not going to do anywhere near as much. Do we know the Blastoise does run a fake out? Does in comes the pellet, but then sort of switches in to get that terrain back. There's the extra sentry, does get the critical hit. Knockoff though is going to knock off that balloon, and there's the Scald in the drop in, trying to go for those burns, doesn't quite land it, but the rain does help get some of that damage. But Leech Seed slowly chipping away at Raikou's health then, and this is a scary position for the Bulu Boys to be in. Already learned that that pellet bit is choice scarfed. What has it got in its locker to take care of the Raikou and the Blastoise? Because Drapion has pretty high attacking might and really nothing on either side to sort of deal with it. You know, no ground type attacks there to be able to sort of hit hard into the Drapion here. Something like the Entei would have been nice, but you can understand. But the Hydro Pump does land on the Pelipper, and the knockoff gets blocked by the Protect, but it's now a 1v3, and this has quickly devolved in just a couple of turns, with Aaron taking a huge advantage of this one. It looks to be all but over unless this Blastoise has got something in its locker. It looks to only have the Skulls. There's the knockoff, is going to knock off the Rindo Berry. That could be huge. There's a Scald. Gonna get the burn on the Drapion now, and Rain Dish revealed on the Blastoise as well. But now that Rillaboom is in a prime position, it's knocked off that Rindo Berry, leaving Blastoise well open to be hit by a grassy glide, and Blastoise is going to go down. Not quite, it doesn't, but Crossbow is going to get the job done. And there it is. Aaron takes game number one. What an absolute back and forth game number one that was, but absolutely crazy stuff. All those ancient power boosts were absolutely insane, and Aaron leads this time with the Drapion and the Crobat now. So of course Crobat with that inner focus ability means that the Bulu Boys are going to be sort of stuck into a fake out into the Drapion. There's a screen freeze there, unfortunately. Do apologise for that. You would expect, you know, them to go straight on the attack with the ancient powers, just try and get those boosts again. Crobat not going to enjoy taking those ancient powers. There is the fake out into the Drapion. Let's go up, but the Hypnosis comes out from the Crobat. There's the ancient power, doesn't quite do enough, and no boost this time. Is that the luck ran out for the Bulu Boys? You know, I think all the luck was spent in that game one with those two boosts, and Aaron will be relieved to see that for sure. Gotta be careful though, if Crobat is able to land another Hypnosis though. Blastoise stays asleep, the Hypnosis lands again though, and the Crobat, that's both Mons asleep now. There is the Earthquake, that's going to get some big damage on Jirachi, but it is going to activate the weakness policy on the Jirachi, so Aaron got to be very, very careful when that thing wakes up from its slumber, that it doesn't get too much off, and Blastoise just tanking that is a very, very bulky Blastoise. Aaron, I think, fully aware that that Jirachi is like their main attacking threat on that Bulu Boys team. So if you can just focus that down, he's going to be in a really good position. The Blastoise can't really do anything. Blastoise stays asleep. Jirachi stays asleep as Crobat goes to the U-turn to pivot out. What is Aaron bringing in his place? It is, of course, the Rillaboom to be able to take care of that Blastoise. As Jirachi does now wake up. There's the ancient power in the Rillaboom, but no boost this time. Crunch can take Jirachi further down. He's going to get some of the HP back thanks to the grassy terrain that Rillaboom set up across leftovers as well. Just restoring some of that damage lost on the Rillaboom from that ancient power. The Bulu Boys look kind of limited from options here. Protect comes out. There's the wake up from the Blastoise. Is going to go for the follow me. Grassy Glide is going to activate the Rindoberry. Blastoise manages to tank that, and there's the knockoff. But Rindoberry already gone, so bit of a misplay there from the Bulu Boys. I think the Protect and the follow me, not quite the one. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting the Blastoise to wake up there, which is why I went for that. But it was definitely a big misplay on my side. But all the same, Jirachi almost down, almost no longer needed to deal with Aaron. The Grassy Glide's going to take out the Blastoise. Ancient Power gets the crit, but it does get the boost. But is it going to be too little too late as another Crunch is going to do the job? And now it is a 2v4, and Aaron looking super strong in this one. Just nothing to sort of answer to that Rillaboom and Drapions. In comes the Alolan Persian and the Maractus then. So, Maractus maybe brought along just to try and deal with that Palippa, but doesn't look to be around in this one. So this could be quite a sort of scary position for the Bulu Boys to be in. That Drapion has good type advantage here into that Maractus. Alolan Persian does at least get the defense boost from that grassy seed thanks to the terrain being up. You can see holding on the weather ball, no weather being up, so that's not liable to do anything. Bit of a difficult spot for the Bulu Boys here. And Aaron playing this one super well. Does Hypnosis early game proving to be so good from that Crobat. And I'd imagine that was wide lens Crobat just to land those Hypnosis. Getting that Hypnosis look again like he did in Grand Finals in Season 3. He loves to see it. Do want to give a quick shout out to RNT Marshall that has just got engaged as of today. So I'd love to see the congratulations in the chat for our boy. Ictus comes out from that Persian. There's the Cross Poison. Maractus comfortably living that one. There's the Elite Seed from the Rillaboom. The Leaf Storm doesn't quite do enough and is going to take a special attack drop for its troubles. And Rillaboom just going to comfortably to sort of, deal with that Alolan Persian. Slowly just chip away at its damage. Spiky Shield comes out from that Maractus. Grassy Glide just doing nothing, and there's a Snarl from the Alolan Persian. I think it's his only attacking move. Cross Poison is blocked by that Spiky Shield, and it's going to take damage from it as well. That Grassy Terrain is going to allow Drapion to get some of that damage back at least. But this is a scary position. This one looks all but over though. Just absolutely no answer to that Drapion throughout this game. It's really controlled things in both matches. And Aaron going to get the W and roll on into 2-0 early doors in the British Pokemon League season number 4. There's a Cross Poison that gets rid of the Maractus. Then is all up to Alolan Persian as it just tanks another Grassy Glide hit. Oh my goodness. No grassy terrain now to give the Drapion his health back. The Alolan Persian is going to get a kill for his troubles, but it's not going to matter. Grassy Glide going to take it down. Leech Seed is going to get the killing blow, you would think, in the next turn, or not. Maybe the Grassy Glide's going to do the job. So in comes the Crobat, then gets the Hypnosis for good measure on the Alolan Persian. Grassy Glide does the job, and down goes the Rillaboom, and there you go. Aaron takes this one 2-0. GG's to my boy Aaron. That was a really fun set until it wasn't. To get those 2 boosts on Jirachi in game 1 and then the Palsy proc was just... it was beyond my wildest dreams, but unfortunately put too much stock into the Jirachi and wasn't confident in the Raikou NT duo, and I'm punished for it. And Aaron with a really fun set on that Rillaboom and the Pellet, and as I said, I just had absolutely nothing for that Drapion. He played it super smart and made really smart picks in team building. So GG's to my guy. We move to 1-1. Aaron moves to 2-0. On to our 4th match of the week though. And it is the Newcastle Thunderers taking on the Tendo Melmetal. So both losing out in week numero uno. Dave not maybe making the start he would have wanted. You know, I know speaking to him before the season, he really wanted to start it out strong, but not to be. But of course, as we always say, plenty of Pokemon left to play. You know, we saw how strong of a season Dave had in season number 3, and he'll be looking to build on that one going forward. But you know, you've got to think that the Instant Land or T-Duo here are really, really strong to deal with the sort of physical attacking presence that are on that Tendo Melmetal side. But be careful of that Latios. It's definitely something that Dave's got to be careful of. You know, this thing, once it Mega Evolves, can be a menace. If it gets a Calm Mind going, Dave could be in a bit of bother. You know, I would like to see Dave potentially bring the Indeedee Mail here, just get that terrain up, and not only is Indeedee Mail going to be able to take full advantage of that terrain to, you know, hit with the spread moves, but it's going to, you know, stop the likes of the Ambipom and things just getting those fake outs off and getting any prior moves going. I think Rotom Wash here as well could be really, really strong, just to deal with the likes of the Arcanine. You know, and that's it. Just to deal with the Arcanine. That's it. No, Rotom Wash is a super strong support man. You know, we saw it in the hands of Meme last season, you know, what this thing can do. And I know Dave is very fond of this thing and wants to make good use of it. Of course, maybe could go along the lines of the Weezing Galar if it's not going to offset things too much in his own team. Cost does get that neutralizing gas ability. You know, just going to, you know, stop the likes of that Lucario, Arcanine, getting those justifieds off. You know, Whimsicott does have beat up and take full advantage of that. You know, Lucario can get beat up, set up on its justified, and then go for the Mega Evolution, and it'll become very, very scary, very, very fast. You know, we saw Dave use that Probopass last week. You know, there's not too much spread move on that side of the Melmetals, but you know, Probopass all the same is a very bulky boy. It could prove to be quite a vital support mode. Over on the Melmetal side, as we said last week, we saw the Latios and the Jellicent sort of trying to put in work, but you know, Latvian unfortunately with the special attack drops from those Snarls on the Lipad, proving more and match to sort of deal with said threat on that Latios. But I think Whimsicott here, just to try and get that speed control, could be really important on the Melmetal side, and if you can get Lucario or get Latios set up, you know, they could be primed in a really good position to sweep, because Latios does have a whole host of moves. There's really, really sort of good spread around the moves, so should be enough to sort of take care of the main threats on Dave's team. Because another thing that Kirky wants to be careful of is that Ferrothorn, you know, which is where Arcanine may come into the fray, and you know, deal with its supporting threat. You know, this thing gets Leech Seeds and Iron Defenses going, with the Iron Bars and Rocky Helmet, and you're in big trouble. You know, Dave, you know, just like Latvian with the Lipad, Dave knows very much how to use the Incineroar and Ferrothorn to maximum effect, so be careful of that one, guys. But let's get into this one. It is the Newcastle Thunderers taking on the Tendo Melmetals, and there Dave has the Indeedee Mail jump of Incin, Ferrothorn, Landity, and the Rotom Wash. Kirky leading the line with the Ambipom and Latios, has got the Lucario, which has got Kecleon and Barbracle in the back. So Barbracle, one we've not seen for a while, because Kecleon we did get to see last week in the Championship Division. So this is the one great thing about this format. We do get to see a whole host of mons that you wouldn't normally see, and definitely wouldn't normally see it in competitive play as of right now. But there is the Indeedee Mail and jump off, kicking this off, jump off with the Psychic Seeds. Just going to get that speed buff as Latios goes. Just Mega Rage Powder comes out. There's the Dazzling Gleam, but really not that much damage to the Latios. There's the double hit from the Ambipom. The Ambipom just, or the jump off just about hanging on that one. Latios is going to be free to get the Calm Mind up. That Dazzling Gleam really just not doing very much damage to it at all, because Kirky got to be careful with that jump off. Not only does it carry Rage Powder, it does carry the Sleep Powder. If Dave's able to land one here, it's going to be able to just... He does land one on the Latios, as we mentioned. There's the Dazzling Gleam again. Latios just comfortably tanking that, as the jump off does now go down thanks to that Ambipom. Kirky going to be praying and hoping that Latios is going to be able to wake up, as now the Incin switches in, gets the attack drop on that Ambipom. Dave, I'm sure, has something up his locker with that Incineroar. Has learned his lessons from Season 2 of not fake outing under the terrain. Very, very proud of the boy. You know, we love character development in the British Pokemon League. But indeed he is set up really nicely, can just sort of comfortably keep hitting these spread attacks. You know, can even make use of the terrain with the Expanding Forces, or can just keep it. Doesn't leave us as Lucario switches in for the Ambipom. There's the Expanding Force that gets a big damage to Lucario, and Bulk Up comes out from the Instant. It's just going to get the defense buff, which is not what the Lucario is going to want to see, and the attack buff as well, which is just as scary. But you know, that indeed he's just able to control things here. He can just sort of keep spamming the spread moves, and Kirky's not really got an answer for it. You know, no wide guard there on Keki says Lucario's going to go down to the expanding force. Latios does at least wake up. Dragon Balls going to do some big damage to the Insane. Snarl just about, Latios just about hanging on and does return to neutral special attack. One more expanding force here is going to do the deed on the Latios. So the really strong start here from Dave, you know, just playing really smart with the Insane and the Indeedee, and Keki with no real answer to it. Kecleon switching in then for Keki, so switching things up to last week, you know, just making good use of all of his mons, which we like to see. You know, it's one of my favourite things about Draft League. You know, you get to see a whole host of monsters. There's the expanding force, gets the critical hit on the Kecleon. Drain Punch is going to take it out though, 2 critical hits, not that they mattered too much, but Insane going to take care of that Kecleon, and Lighthouse's Protect goes to waste. Dave making a great read there, you know, not hitting into the Latios, you know, as you might expect him to, as the Ambipom now switches back in. It's going to be able to fake out now at least, because the terrain is gone. So might be able to sort of alleviate some of the threat and allow Latios to get, you know, a hit off, at least try and bring himself back into this one. But, you know, indeed he's just sitting there strong as it has done from turn 1. Expanding Force is going to get rid of the Ambipom. There's the Dragon Pulse into it, but the Snarl's going to take it out, and Dave takes the lead in this game 1. What a game 1 from Big Dog Dave and his Newcastle Thunders. We switch straight into game number 2, and turn number 2, just Tailwind going off, and the Sleep Powder on the side of Dave. Unfortunately, we loaded in this one a little bit late. But Whimsicott and Latios leading the line this time for Keki, you know, trying to give himself that speed control, seeing that the Indeedee is faster than his Lucario and the Latios. Fake Tears comes out from the Whimsicott, but Latios stays asleep. There's the Acrobatics from the jump off, and the Mystical Fire from the Indeedee Mill. So Dave makes a great move choices here again on his mons. You know, doesn't just straight away go for the spreads as he could. You know, could just easily sort of spam the Dazzling Gleams and the Expanding Force, but doesn't go for it. There's the Acrobatics and the Barbicle. There's the Expanding Force, and it does so much damage to Barbicle there. And oh my goodness, this Indeedee Mill is absolutely sensational. There's so much damage output, and just able to completely control things like Latios with that jump off next to it. You know, Latios just can't seem to get anything going. And one more turn of Tailwind, so Dave's just been fully stalled out as Rage Powder comes out. There's the Ice Beam, it's going to take out the Jump Bluff though. Expanding Force is going to get rid of Barbicle, and that is 1 mon down a piece. Latios just about hanging on that Calm Mind. Really helping out as Lando T switches in. Gets the Intim on the Latios and the Whimsicott. Is Latios going to wake up this time though? You know, we saw Dave run the Yachi Berry in game number 1. Is he going to have it in his locker this time round? You know, we know Latios does have the Ice Beam. It depends if Keki has stuck it on there. Again, in TT Mail, it's just been, in game 1 it was just sat there the whole time. In this one, it's just been sat there the whole time. Whimsicott does get the tailwind up. Latios finally does wake up. There's the Ice Beam, and Lando T does not stand a chance. It goes straight down. But that ended up being a really smart switch in from Dave, as he's able to reset the terrain. Sees the terrain was going down the next turn. Allows the Rotten Wash to switch in. You know, when we were watching it live, we thought that was a mistake, but it ended up being an absolutely fantastic read from our man Dr. Dave. Dr. Dave from Big Dog Dave, my apologies. The ATs comes out from the Whimsicott. There's the Dragon Pulse. Not going to quite do enough of this red card. Rotten Wash is going to switch out the Latios, and Mystical Fire is going to hit in that Whimsicott. Orcaberry going to save the Whimsicott's blushes, but there is the Thunderbolt and gets the paralysis on the Ambipom as well, with 2 turns of Tailwind to go. That red card play proving to be so huge. Just, you know, puts Keki in an awkward position and maybe brings out a mon that he doesn't want, and, you know, that's not going to enjoy being in front of the Indeedee Mail. As now Indeedee Mail is a 1v3. Expanding Force is going to take care of both Ambipom and Whimsicott after Whimsicott took out the Rotten Wash. So it's now Indeedee Mail taking on the Latios with no stat boost, and I think it's going to do this. You know, I think it's got this in the bag. Even with, you know, with 1 turn of Tailwind, I think that a Dazzling Gleam should just about do enough over the course of 2 turns. Let's see what happens though. Can the Latios salvage this for Keki? There's the Ice Beam Tribute going for the freezes. Expanding Force is going to do the job, and Dave takes this one 2-0 and gets his first win of the season on the board. GG's to both of our players there, and GG's to Big Dog Dave. What a phenomenal performance that was, by the way. That is the Dave we know and love. That is the Dave of old of season 3. Absolutely great stuff. You know, as I said, you know, we were watching live, and I was watching with Aaron, and, you know, we saw him switch out the Indeedee, and we're like, kind of like, what's going on? What's he done? Is he just thrown this? And just we just sort of tunnel visioned. And you know, this Indeedee could just keep sweeping things. And no, Dave. We were thinking the year 2000. Dave was in the year 3000 with this one. Switches it out, switches the Indeedee back in, once Lando T goes down, and is able to reset the terrain and make full use of those expanding forces. And yeah, amazing stuff. GG's to Big Dog Dave as he moves on to 1-1, and Kirky continues his search for his first win of the season. We'll see if he can do that against South Croydon Saurs next week. But on to our 5th match of the week. It is Dogsy Shadow Kings taking on Silly Willy's Long Island Goomies. As we mentioned, looking at the schedule, these two have played each other numerous times, and it is always close between these two. You know, Silly with a strong start last week, as well as you know, Dogsy made a strong start. You know, he did take the loss against Aaron, but you know, I think came out of that match with his head held high. You know, did, you know, as got mentioned in the chat, did make a bit of a mistake regarding the Mega Abominance Note towards the end. However, let's not take anything away from that Dogsy took Aaron all the way in that one, and that is absolutely no shame in that one. So this one should be a close game. As Dogsy with those that double electric duo of Coco and Electivire is definitely something that Silly's got to be careful of, because Silly has his own electric duos, has of course the Thunderous Theorem with that Volt Absorb ability, and Manectric as well, which kind of costs Mega, and that was Intimidates on that Mega Manectric. Going to be super big, you know, for dealing with that Electivire, and can go for, you know, can keep it unmegged, you know, and keep up the lightning rods for as long as he wants. So, you know, no surefire way for Dogsy to sort of do the work he needs to do with those discharges, as you're just going to power up the Manectric, as I suppose, as well as powering up your own Electivire speed, you know, that that motor drive ability. But you know, I would think that Dogsy's going to try and bring an option to deal with the you know, the likes of the weather setters, you know, Torkoal, Politoed, and you know, we saw just how much of an annoyance that Sableye could be last week with those quashes. So definitely something that Dogsy is going to be keeping in mind. And something that Silly's got to be careful of course, as well, is that Umbreon, just how much of an annoyance that thing can be. It just sits there and takes hit after hit after hit. You know, it can sit in Moonlight, it can just taunt, it can snarl, it does everything, this thing. And Meme really got the best out of it last season. Something as well to keep an eye on as well, of course, Dogsy does of course have his baby boy, the Ditto. You know, if Silly does go along the lines of setting up the Sun and, you know, making use of the Venusaur, Ditto can potentially come into play just to try and, you know, copy either the Torkoal or Venusaur, just to sort of for Dogsy to use to his own advantage. So plenty of options there on Dogsy's side. Of course, is the weather duo of the Abominance Note and Arctivish as well. You know, Abominance Note, and of course it's Mega, get Snow Warning, with Arctivish getting that Slush Rush ability to allow it to get its speed doubled. Of course, Vicious Rend on Arctivish as well is definitely something that City's got to be careful of. You know, we saw in Season 1, despite the Sun being up, just how much damage Dracovish did to Torkoal in the Sun with those Vicious Rends. So definitely keep an eye on that one. You know, speaking of the Sableye, you know, it may be that Dogsy looks to bring that Bruxish just to stop those pranks there, those priority moves going off. You know, Bruxish with its dazzling ability works the same as Serena's ability as well. The Queenly Majesty stops those priority moves going off. So definitely a difficult one to call, this one. Very, very difficult, but you would definitely expect Venusaur to be a big duo here. And potentially, I said that Snow duo of Abominance Snow and Arctivish, but I'm going to start off Labyrinth. Let's get into this one. It is the Shadow Kings taking on the Long Island Goomies, and Dogsy does indeed have his electric duo of Electivire and Coco, along with Umbreon, Ditto, Grookey, and the Abominance Snow, and Grookey, Thwacky, my bad. And Silly leads the line with Manectric and Thunderous, so sees that electric duo coming and makes full advantage of it. Has got the Politoed, Poliwhirl, Tyrantrum, and the Gumshoes in the back. So Silly with an unorthodox lead of 6 months, as you would expect from Silly. You know, we've come to know this kid over the past year, and you know, expect the unexpected is definitely the motto to go with Silly. This is a very interesting lead, I'm not gonna lie. There's 4 electric types on the field. And 2 gain much benefit from electric types being as Dazzling Gleam comes out from the Coco. There's the discharge. It's going to give Thunderous some HP back. It's going to speed up the Electivire, but Coco going to take some damage from that. As there's the Electivire with the Rock Slide, gets some big damage with Thunderous. It's going to proc its Citrus Berry though, and discharge comes out from the Thunderous. It's going to proc the Motor Drive and the Lightning Rod Manectric, and Coco going to take some damage to that from so just discharges from both of Silly's mons there. Playing it as advantage, but Dogsy playing around that and not doing the expected. Dazzling Gleam's really hitting hard. Spread moves really seem to be the way forward with this duo. You know, and Electivire is such a move pool. You know, this thing gets ground moves, it gets rock slides. There's the Intimidate from Manectric. That could be big. As Protect comes out from the Manectric. Protect comes out from the Thunderous as well. That rock slide gonna miss. And the Raw does hit through the Protector's Gumshoes is brought into the play. We did not know that. We didn't know the Raw hits through Protect, which is absolutely crazy to see. So Raw on the Coco. Very, very interesting move choice there on Dogsy, but it brings in Gumshoes, which is very awkwardly placed on this electric terrain. It's not a very strong mon, is Gumshoes. So very interesting that Silly even decided to bring this Tyrantrum, switches in. There's the Rock Slide, so makes a good read there. Does Silly Discharge going to come out, going to proc that Motor Drive. It gets a big damage with Gumshoes and gets paralyzed for good measure. It's going to get flinch and not going to be able to move in this turn then. So not a great turn there for Silly, but good switch in there all the same with using Tyrantrum. You know, playing it smart there and not allowing either Thunderous or the Manectric to go down. Dazzling Gleam though is going to get rid of the Gumshoes, and that's some big damage with Tyrantrum. Tyrantrum goes to the Earthquake. Is it going to get rid? No, it doesn't get rid of Coco, but there's the red card on the Tyrantrum from the Electivire, and now Manectric and Thunderous switch back in. This is absolutely all over this game, just Mon switching in and switching out, and still Electivire and Coco lead the line for Dogsy. And what a crazy game we've had so far, as we expected with these two. You know, it's never straightforward. One of them always has something absolutely crazy lined up, as this Tyrantrum is going to switch in. There's a Protect from the Thunderous. Rock Slide there, not going to do all that much to Tyrantrum thanks to that Intimidate. There's a Dazzling Gleam. It's going to take out the Tyrantrum. And it's now a 2v4 with Silly with it all to do. Gets the Intim off again, so playing it nicely with that Intim rotation from the Manectric at least. There's the Rock Slide. Electivire does miss a Manectric, but it's not going to do enough to Thunderous. There's the Flamethrower. It's going to finally get rid of Electivire. And Dazzling Gleam though is going to get the job done. And Coco finishes this one off. And Dogsy takes the lead in this 1-0 as we switch straight into game 2 as Electivire and Coco leading again against Poliwrath and Politoed. And this is not a good position for Silly to be in at all. Poliwrath and its Evolved Father really not going to enjoy this. There's the Earthquake from the Poliwrath. Is it going to do enough? It takes out the Electivire. Coco just about hanging on there. Discharge comes away from Coco onto Poliwrath from Politoed. Poliwrath and Politoed just about hanging on. Electivire goes down as Snow Warning is going to reset the weather. And this is again not a good position for Silly to be in. You may look to try and pivot something out here, or pivot both, just to enable his monster sort of stay in the game, but really not a great start. That was a lot of damage from that Discharge. Tyrantrum does switch into there. Is the switch Protect goes out from the Poliwrath, so it doesn't go for the double switch. But there's the Discharge, makes a great read. So that's not going to do too much to Tyrantrum. Does get the Paralysis, so that can be huge. The Blizzard comes out from Bomber Snow. Tyrantrum takes a big hit from that one, obviously being part Dragon type. And just Dogsy's got so much damage output on this Coco and a Bomber Snow. It's really hard to be able to do anything here. And yeah, really difficult leads there for Silly, unfortunately. You know, I think Dogsy was always looking to be sticking the same, but you know, you've got to try something different, you know, just in case your opponent switches up. But Thwacky's going to come in, bring in the Grassy Sedge. Politoed switches back in to reset the weather again. There's close combat from the Poliwrath. That gets some big damage on the Thwacky, but it's going to go down thanks to its life orb. And Dazzling Gleam is going to get rid of the Politoed, and all of a sudden this game is crumbling for Silly, and Dogsy's looking like he's going to get his first win on the board of this season, and starting off really strong. You know, I said I still think he made a good account of himself in week 1 and was unlucky to lose out, but is really coming to this one swinging. That Coco is such a menace as now Manectric and Tyrantrum switch in for Silly, so Silly might be placed best to, you know, not go for the Mega on Manectric here, but it's a really difficult position to be in. So Thwacky's got pretty good damage output with those Grassy Glides. There's the Intim though. Manectric does go for the Mega. Fake Out though, going to stop that Manectric from doing what it wants. Dazzling Gleam going to take out the Tyrantrum. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of an awkward one from Silly. You can never underestimate this guy. You know, he got 3rd place in Season 3 for good reason. He is a very solid player. But, you know, Dogsy has definitely played this one really smart. Flamethrower is going to get... Oh, Coco just about hangs on. Dazzling Gleam, though, is going to get the job done. And Silly goes down to 2-0 to Dogsy. As we said, Dogsy gets that first W on the board. GG's to both players, of course. That one was such a fun match to watch. After the craziness of the game before, that one was just boom, 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 boom. It was over in a flash. The Coco and Electivire were just such a strong duo. I said that Electivire is terrifying with its move pool, and Coco with its damage output, with those Dazzle Gleams and Discharge. I mean, damn. Wow. Absolute scenes here in the British Pokemon League, as one would say, but I'm sure Silly will bounce back one with a win next week, or he's at least going to try, and Dogsy's going to roll on into week number 3 with a win under his belt. But on to our final game of week number 2. It is the Swindon Rookies taking on the Welsh Warriors, as we mentioned earlier on the show. Matrix making a winning start to life in the British Pokemon League, getting the 2-1 win over Dave's Newcastle Thunderous. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, Swindon Rookies losing out to the aforementioned Long Island Goomies, who we just saw lose out to the Shadow Kings. And as we said, Draco gonna want to bounce back after that one. Made not the best start to life in Season 3, so he's not going to want to repeat that one. And I think there's definitely a few ways he could get the win here and make very good use of the Darkrai and Meowstic. Meowstic, because that Prankster ability can go for the Gravity, which is going to improve accuracy, and may look to try and get that Dark Void move off on Darkrai. If you can get Matrix's lead asleep, then he gives himself a good chance of being able to sort of bring something like the Kingdra or the Sizor in just to sort of sit and sweep. Of course, like the Gliscor here as well could be quite a smart bring with its close combats. Quite a bit of Matrix's team, funnily enough, is weak to fighting types. Who would have thought it? But a sleeper pick, something like the Torracat here could be really, really strong. Just to deal with how much of Matrix's team is weak to fire. Of course, got to be careful with that Heat Run switching into that Flash Fire ability. Definitely can't sleep on that thing. But Draco could definitely make full use of that. I think bringing Scizor is also a risky play. We saw how much the Sunny Day boosted Eruption is doing from Heat Run. Took out a Lando T in week number 1. Crits aside, it was still absolutely phenomenal for it to do that much damage. It was got to be careful of that Heat Run for sure, which is I think Kingdra's definitely Draco's best option. But over on the side of Matrix, as we mentioned, the Heat Run here, the Heat Run and Empoleon, I think are going to be where you're going to be looking to manage damage outpeels, and I think the Klefki has to come in this one. Just to get those weather resets, you're going to look to see Meowstic try and outdo that Klefki with its own weather reset. So I think Klefki is a solid bring here. Maybe something like, you may try and get the Trick Room up with something like the Bronzor, whether it's worth bringing or not, just as support. Or like the Skarmory with its Tailwind could be useful to bring in this game. Fortress with its bug typing, could deal with something like the Shaman if it's going to come along to play. But it's a bit of an awkward one to call. Definitely, a couple of main sweepers in Draco's team that Matrix has got to be careful of. But Heat Run and Metagross here, I think, are positioned pretty well to sort of get that damage in. We saw, they both got 4 kills each in week 1. So the sweeping prowess of these two months cannot be understated. But anyway, guys, on to the last game of the week. It is the Swindon Rookies taking on the Welsh Warriors, and on Matrix's side, he's got the Empoleon Klefki, the Heatran, Metagross, Skarmory, and the Aggron. On Draco's side, it is the Meowstic and Darkrai leading the line, with Scizor, the Marowak, Shaman, and the Gliscor in the back. So no Kingdra in that lead of 6 for Draco then. So Matrix will be feeling pretty happy with that in terms of the heat run. There's only really the likes of the Marowak that can, or the Scizor that can sort of prove a threat to it. It looks to be that Draco is going for that gravity move, just to give him a good chance of putting both ones asleep here, and that's where he can bring something in to set up and start sweeping. We've got to be very, very careful, of course. Dark Void is a pretty low accuracy move, and we know how RNG goes. There is the gravity. Light Screen goes out from Klefki, and Taunt comes away from Darkrai, then so that's going to stop Klefki from doing what it's doing. But Skarmory is going to get up the Tailwind at the very least. So good stuff there from Matrix. Pretty passive turn, but I think that's what it needed to be. Get the screens up to stop the Draco doing what it wants to do, and getting the speed control up as well is all important. Of course, it did take a taunt for Troubles Klefki, but it can still do damage with those dazzling beams. Or you may look to try and pivot out and bring something else in here. Since something like potentially like the Heat Run or the Metagross could be brilliant. There's the Rain Dance then, as Skarmory goes and sets itself up, gets the attack and defense up. But Dark Void is going to put Scamry to sleep. Dazzling Gleam is going to get some big damage with a Dark Ride. Bad Dreams going to be doing a little bit of damage with the Scamry each turn, so Matrix got to be careful on that one. But you know, that Dazzling Gleam did so much damage from the Klefki onto the Dark Ride. Absolutely crazy. 2 more turns of Tailwind to go from the side of Matrix then. And Draco elects to swap in the Glycopod, then just be able to take out the incoming Dazzling Gleam, which it does quite comfortably. The Shadow Ball going the other way though, thanks to the light screen. Klefki just tanks that hit, and Matrix sitting pretty with the Scamry and Klefki during the Scamry is still sat there asleep and not really taking any hits, to be honest. I see Draco hovering over the knockoff move. Could be good here to sort of hit into the likes of Klefki just to find out what move he's got as the Empoleon switches in. There's the knockoff on the Glycopod. It does find out the Life Orb is on the Empoleon. Shadow Ball gets the crit, but it's just not doing it. That Meowstic's got no special attacking threat. You know, going in with the light screen, it's just really not doing much damage. And Empoleon's set up in a really good position here with the rain being up, can get, you know, any kind of water type attack off here, and it's going to get some big damage in. So Meowstic got to be careful. Is there going to be a first impression lying around for Glycopod? Is he going to go straight on the attack with a close combat? Try and get the damage in. Scald comes out from the Empoleon. Meowstic shows some hands on. There's the wake up from the Scamry. Brave Bird's going to take the Glycopod down to 2% HP, and that's going to unfortunately activate its emergency exit ability. This is the only issue with Glycopod, you know, it goes below half HP, and it's going to just pivot right out of there, you know, and sometimes that's not where you need it to be, especially when it's the slowest thing on the field. The Scizor now switches in Shadow Ball. Again, the Empoleon is at least going to get the special defense drop, but that's not what you want when that Empoleon has got the Defiant ability, gets the attack boost, and that Empoleon is in a very, very good position now. Scizor though has at least switched in. Are we going to see him go for the Mega then? Try and get as much damage output as he can. Definitely a lot of physical defensive prowess on Matrix's side, so gotta be careful. The Aqua Jet is going to get rid of the Meowstic, and that's the first one finally goes down, but Super Power is going to revenge kill the Empoleon. Take some stat drops for good troubles. Brave Bird is going to get some big damage on the Scizor, and that Scamry is positioned really, really well after that bulk up. So Matrix playing this one, playing the long game here, playing the smart as we have 3 apiece on turn number 6. See Dark Ride there, potentially switching back in, or the Glycopod. We've got 2% HP. Now in comes Aggron then. So is that going to be just regular Aggron, or is it going to be the Mega Aggron? Which is it going to be? Has he brought the Mega on that, or is the Mega evolution on the Metagross? We are about to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Still Scamry hanging around, and I feel like Draco's just left that thing alone for a bit too long, as Aggron is the Mega. Protect comes out from that Scizor. Protect comes out from the Mega Aggron, and Draco switching back to this Discord screen. Brave Bird is going to get buff out of Protect, and the Aqua Jet going to do nothing to the Aggron. So Draco potentially thinking it wasn't going to go for the Mega, and it's blocked by the Protect anyway. Going to go all out with the damage. Darkrai switches into them. Instead, this is a Body Press is going to take out the Glycopod. It's so slow. Brave Bird's going to take out the Darkrai, and all of a sudden, this has just collapsed for Draco. There's now a 1v3. Scamry and Aggron have just completely held their own here, and well, Scamry and Klefki mostly have just done so much damage and so much work. And even though Scamry was asleep for a couple of times at the start, there Draco's just not been able to get things going. And Scizor now with it all to do. Is going to be, I think, potentially the fastest thing here, but I just don't think it's going to do enough to Aggron, as the Aggron does go for the Protect. Reads the superpower coming. Tailwind comes out from the Scamry, which is going to mean that Matrix has got the speed advantage now. And this is a hell of a spot for Draco to be in. This is going to look like Draco's going to lose this opening game. His Body Press goes in. There's the Brave Bird, and Matrix takes the lead in the game too. Really strong start there from Matrix, and showing just his his raw damage output as Draco leads with the Scizor and Shaman, but the Heat Run is on the other side for Matrix, and that is not good news for Draco here. That is not a position he wants to be in. Klefki is just going to safely go for the sunny day, and Heatran then you would expect to be Scarf. It's going to be just Eruption in both Shaman and Scissor's face, and that is not going to be a good start. There could be 2 mons down in turn number 1, so Draco's got to try and switch something in, but what does he switch in? It goes for double protect here. It's sort of going to delay the initial Eruption is going to get blocked by those protects. He's got to try and pivot something out and hope he can tank a hit from that Heatran. The quicker you can get some damage done to that Heatran, stop those eruptions from hurting as much. Does switch out, in comes the Coalossals, then Coalossals, is it going to take, oh, the Shaman goes down to the Eruption, Coalossals takes so much damage, it is going to emergency exit out, so that's going to allow Draco to pivot back in, but he brings back in the Scissor, which is going to at least tank that hit from the Clefkey, but what does he bring in it's, in Shaman's place? Definitely the Coalossals not going to tank another Eruption hit, and Heatran potentially can just set up and sweep here. What has Draco got to be able to take care of it? It is Scarf Heatran as well, so it doesn't look to be that Draco has any way to sort of change the speeds around. Trick Room potentially here would have been super strong. Side I'll go for his Mega is going to go for protect. Switcheroo comes out from the Clefkeys. There's the Lagging Tails Eruption. It's going to take out the Marowak. It does. It's 2 down. Heatran just taking names. Now it's all up to Coalossals and Sizar, and Heatran I think is just going to comfortably just click Eruption again. I think even as you see that Aqua Jet not going to do all that much to Heatran in the sun. And what a strong start. Matrix does at least take pity on Draco and doesn't allow the Heatran to set up too much. Empoleon takes that super power hit. There's the Dazzling Gleam from Clefkey. Not going to be doing all that much. This is not good stuff here. Draco's in one hell of a spot. Yeah, just really awkward one in that game too. I think just Draco's just didn't lead themselves very well to dealing with that Heatran, which I suppose you never know what your opponent's going to do. There's a drill run from Coalossals, actually some big damage away to the Clefkey. Is there a way back into this one? I wouldn't have thought so. I said that the Scarf Eruptions are just such a problem. And while the sun's up, even the likes of the Aqua Jet is not going to be able to do enough. Not a good position for Draco being there. There's a Dazzling Gleam is going to get rid of Coalossals, but Clefkey gets a kill on the board. There's Assurance from the Scissors is at least going to get a kill. Now Heatran's going to be able to come in and comfortably clean this one up, and Matrix, so Protect comes out from the Scissor there again, so goes for the Flamethrower instead. Matrix moves on to 2-0, making the almost perfect start to life in the British Pokemon League. The Steel Monotype team really proving its mettle. And there you go then, Matrix with the 2-0 over Draco. GG's to both players. Man, that Heatran is scary. I was giving up for that thing. That is absolutely mental, that damage output that Heatran has with its eruptions. Very scary stuff. And Matrix proving that he is not to be trifled with here in the British Pokemon League. And I think a lot of people are probably quick to, sort of sweep him under the carpet and not sort of consider him a threat. But, this guy is a strong player, as evidence here. And he is really putting a stamp of authority on the British Pokemon League. Well, let's take a look at what that means for the league table going into week number 3 then. So Latvian back atop the British Pokemon League after the Bulu Boys losed out to the Inglorious Surfers. So him and Aaron sitting atop in first and second, with the Welsh Warriors, Matrix in third with the 2-0. So only 3 teams with perfect records so far. Newcastle Thunderers, South Croydon Saurs, Bulu Boys, Long Island Gumi, Shadow Kings and Crymych Coalossals all on the 1-1 record, all split by game difference. Newcastle though finding themselves flying high in 4th place, which is absolutely insane. Dave played that one so smart. Got to give big credit to Big Dog Dave there. Meanwhile, at the bottom, 10.mil metals, winner rookies, and the Space City PC still in search for that elusive first win. But of course, as we always say here in the British Pokemon League, you know what I'm going to say. There's still plenty of Pokemon left to play. We've still got another 9 weeks of action, boys and girls, and it is going to be chaotic, my friends. But that is going to do it for this week's show. You'll have to find out how things go in next week's show. We'll be back at 8 o'clock next Monday, right here on this Twitch channel, twitch.tv/British Pokemon League. You can, of course, catch the British Pokemon League Championship show from tomorrow night with our host Draco here on this channel as well. Not 100% sure of the time on that one, but it is coming tomorrow night. So you've got that one to look forward to and catch up on all the Wii 2 action of the British Pokemon League Championship. But that is going to do it for me. I've been your host, Matt Star. We will see you all next time. Goodbye and good night. Mwah.